So bear with me on this one, because this is going to be a little bit of an upsetting video to make, because this comes to a shock. But yeah, this is going to be a video that is potentially upsetting for some people, and if you're prone to ridiculously upsetting topics, then please choose another video on the channel. Alright, so I hear you guys asking, what's the real problem here? So if you guys don't know me, I am a chicken farmer. I'm just like a typical teenager that lives on a farm, and I love chickens. If you don't know me, I am an absolute crazy chicken person. I love my chickens a lot. And if you don't know, I have two flocks. They'll both come important later. I have a pet flock and a farm flock. And if there's one thing you need to know about living on a farm, is that you probably have some woods. And in those woods, there's probably wildlife. If there's no wildlife in woods and it's not woods, then basically there is definitely some potentially predaceous wildlife for certain chickens. And if you don't know me, this channel is literally based around all my chickens. I love my chickens. They're the reason I get the motivation to make some of my content too. I make them a lot. I revolve around them basically. They're basically my day-to-day life. I wake up in the morning, I go outside, feed the chickens, give them some love and attention, you know. You gotta love the chickens, man. You gotta keep up the grind. But basically, if you don't know, we've had issues with predators in the past. This year we've lost, prior to this day, two chickens in the pet flock. We lost Chicken Burger back in April due to probably either a fox or possibly even a hawk. And then we lost Lovey to either a hawk or a weasel back in early June. And if you don't know, we have a lot of issues with things like foxes, bobcats, and hawks, but never really an issue with coyotes. If you don't know coyotes, they're little miniature wolves up here in the Northeast, so yeah. So picture this. You're just a chicken, an ordinary chicken living on a farm. I don't know, maybe a hen, not a rooster. You're just a normal hen. Yeah, chickens are fighting in there. Like, you're just a typical hen, you know? Just chilling. It's about 7 in the morning, you know? You're just in the yard. You just went out, got a nice blast of fresh air. You're absorbing the nice fresh air. And then all of a sudden, a coyote comes barreling into your yard, moving at least 15 miles per hour. The best you could do is run into your coop, because you are let out with an automatic coop door. Coyotes can't really fit into that tiny thing. So you're just chilling at the coop while you watch your flock get absolutely decimated in front of your eyes. Well, I'm about to share that story with you real quick, so let's go to chapter 3. So this is attack number 1. This happened at approximately 7 a.m. on a beautiful Thursday morning, also known as this morning. So basically what ended up happening was I was asleep, you know, I was like asleep, and I was just inside, you know. I was always doing, sleeping, because it's 7 in the morning. What else would you be doing at 7 in the morning? I was just sitting there, and then I was told that the pet flock was wiped out. What we all thought happened was that there was a group of foxes teaching its younger ones how to hunt. I estimated that by the amount of feathers, there had to be at least one adult fox and at least 2 or 3 younger foxes. At first, I believe we only found 5 chickens in the chicken coop. I'm currently putting their names on the screen right now. It was this morning, so I don't really remember it nicely. The first sign of attack was Gray Cloud. If you look down there, you might be able to see a barn. Gray Cloud was all the way down there. If you're wondering, she was supposed to be way over there if you're in my pet flock during the morning hours. But they were escaping only because of how saturated the grounds were. Because, you know, we've gotten like 9 or 10 inches of rain in like the last week and a half. So it was crazy how much these chickens had been escaping because of saturated grounds. I thought that was just the case at first, but unfortunately that wasn't the case at all. Gray Cloud, all the way out there, the most she'd ever go to is like around the playscape or possibly even closer to the house, but that was only when they were down there for the winter. So basically that's what ended up happening. We were just sitting there gathering chickens. At first we thought we lost like 7 or something like that chickens, but fortunately the total was only 3. Unfortunately, 2 of the 3 were barred rocks, including the very legendary Mrs. Peepers, who, if you guys don't know, survived a broken leg and then proceeded to go and be the leader of the flock until at least early 2022, since about mid 2020. And then basically, yeah, that's what ended up happening. What the Cluck was also a recent add to the flock. Burnt Chicken Tender was another unfortunate death. Unfortunately, same issue. And BCT is what I call her for short, because Burnt Chicken Tender, BCT, same difference. She was dragged away. It looks like, by the looks of things, I then would go up and check the trail cameras, which will release a video probably in like a day or two looking at some trail cameras out there in the woods. I saw it carrying away one of the bards. I'm pretty sure it was what the cluck. It looked like a very young coyote, so I'm not surprised that we found two groups of barred rock feathers, and we found a slight trail of Easter egger feathers. So that was pretty unfortunate, but it unfortunately ended up having to happen because, you know, coyotes are little morons and there's nothing you can really do about it. So the best you can really do about it is take actions into your own hands and cut the coyote population into pieces, which would be the best decision, but that'll take a lot of patience, so yeah. And if you're still watching at this point in the video, I am genuinely surprised. You must be ridiculously determined to watch the end of some random person that lives on a farm video talking about chickens. Well, you'd be shocked to hear what happens next. Gray cloud was the first sign of that attack. Remember how I told you that? Unfortunately, gray cloud would go missing at around 10:30 a.m. That was a couple hours ago. That was not a couple hours ago. It's like 7:38 right now. And like, the poor chicken was just, you know, like doing her little thing in the yard. I don't know what ended up happening to her. I'm currently working on putting up some lost chicken signs on the street. That way it's known to people that we have a missing chicken. And also my cat's been missing for the last 2 days. So I was like, I've been seeing coyotes for the last couple days. So it's been getting a little bit on the more glorifying side. I was like, yeah, there's no way that the cat is still alive. But the story does have a slight happy ending. But to say it has a happy ending is a double-edged sword to see what comes next in our very, very terrifying story. Excuse the pool robot, it's doing its job right now. But you want to know what wasn't doing its job? The coyotes. Basically, it was, you know, 2 in the afternoon, 1:30 more like. And, you know, we were just out at lunch because, you know, 1:30 equals lunchtime. And we come back. Typically in the farm flock, we have a rooster named Waldo. Typically, you'd hear him crow and cluck all day long. For a little bit of comparison, there are a total of 18 chickens in the farm flock. When we come home, we don't hear him crowing. We're like, okay, he's probably with his chickens in the coop or something. Well, guess where he was? Not alive anymore, and I'm about to show you some genuine proof. Don't worry, there's no like bodies or blood or anything like that. It's literally just some feather piles in the yard. We've cut their yard basically by 3/4 after that unfortunate attack. The coyote, the 2 or 3 coyotes that killed my last duck. If you don't know, I have ducks too. We lost 2 ducks because of bobcats a little while ago. And then the last duck, or what the duck, Cayuga duck, she ended up passing away just this morning because of the whole attacks. If you follow me over here, you can definitely see where the outline of the yard was. Do you want to know how many chickens we have left in this flock? We used to have, all right, so here's Waldo. Here's his feathers, you might be able to see him. He put up a massive fight. You could tell by the sheer amount of feathers. Typically, this is what you'd be seeing. I found at least 7 piles of feathers. So, do you want to know what the total amount of... So the death count for this flock is 12. 11 hens and 1 rooster. If you don't know, we have a lot of Easter eggers in this flock. We have, before this day, 4 Easter eggers. Now we only have 3. My Easter eggers aren't really the brightest, so they run to the coop. Crowbird, the last of the Puffy Cheeks twins is what I used to call them, because we used to have a chicken named Puffy Cheeks that passed away back in September of 2021. Crowbird was one of the victims. all the Wyandottes except for 1 gold-laced Wyandotte, all the ISA Browns except for 1, the last buff, the last bard, and also we only have 1 Marin left. She's the 1 original Marin. We have 3 Easter eggers, 1 Marin, 1 Wyandotte, and I don't remember what the 6th chicken was. I think, yeah, it was the ISA Brown. That was it. We don't have any of those really weird crosses between Easter eggers anymore, so it's sad. So it's the case at this point. So, however, remember how I told you saying this has a happy ending as a double-edged sword? Because the cat ended up coming back later. this day. She's been missing for the last 2 days, and we've been seeing coyotes getting closer and closer to the houses. She came back. She was spotted by one of the local people. If you don't know, we have a pretty short street. She went all the way down to the main road. It was crazy, but they found her, brought her back here safely, and she is in the house. She's been out for the last 3 days. She is an indoor-outdoor cat and spends probably about 65 to 70% of her day outside, and the rest she just spends sitting on the tanner table. What? Table. That's what I meant to say, you know. Basically, that's what she's going to be, just sitting there on the table all day for the last 30% of the day, and that's all she does. So to see her gone for 3 days is a little bit concerning, but she's alive. She's back in the house. She's just sitting on the table, and she will be okay for a little while at least before she goes back out. So that was the end of the story. The coyote population will be decreasing. That's all I gotta say. Coyotes are extremely annoying. Foxes are extremely annoying. I like how he said right before, about a week before all this, unfortunately I ended up going down. Here's a coyote print right there. You might not have been able to see it, but it was big enough to be a coyote print. Basically, all that went down, I literally said, I don't think we'll have any coyote attacks soon, but I can't give a guarantee. And guess what happened a week later? It happened. So like and subscribe, because this is a mess. And imagine if you're like a farmer that's like selling eggs consistently, and you have like 83 or something like that chickens. Just pulled up a random number, and then a pack of coyotes. We have at least 4 to 7 come in and take the farm flock. There's a lot of drag lines, if you're wondering. That's how I can estimate that. A farmer loses like 3/4 of his chickens because of that. We lost 2/3 of the chickens during this one attack. So if you think of any given chicken, there's about a 1/3 chance that they're alive, unless they're Easter eggers. Then there's about a 3/4 chance they're alive. So unfortunately, that was the case. And if you're a farmer and you lose like 3/4 of your chickens, imagine the dent in profits that could be. But we're gonna move on from this situation. We have 7 chickens left in the pet flock, potentially 8. But we're about to start taping missing chicken gray cloud onto things, because gray cloud just went missing. There was nothing in the yard. The worst I've seen was a tiny little sharp-shinned hawk. There are some weird feathers though, but those aren't gray feathers. They're like blackish brown feathers. So I don't know. That's it.